All right, so for our second task from this chapter, we're going to go ahead and fly the GPS approach into Wilkes-Barre. Let's go ahead and brief this real quick. It's Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, Pennsylvania. RNAV GPS runway 4 at AVP. Here's the WAS channel. Approach course 044. Runway landing distance 7501. Touchdown zone elevation 962. Same as the airport elevation. And here we have circle to runway 10 and 28. Not authorized at night for uncompensated viral VNAV. That's not us. Our local altimeter setting not received. Procedure not applicable. For in-op Mauser, increase LNAV Cat C and D visibility to 2 miles. Circling NA for Cat C and D southeast of this runway. And of course, you can't use DME or NP. RVR 1800 authorized with use of flight director or autopilot or HUD to DA. So a coupled approach, basically. They have Mauser lights. Missed approach, climb to 4,000 direct. JIDPU and hold. There's the ATIS. Of course, the ATIS is on the VOR. Wilkes-Barre approach control. Already knew this. 120.9 or 5. 126.3. Wilkes-Barre Tower is 120.1. And ground control is 121.9er. Here's our plan view. It's an I pattern with a holding pattern in order to do a course reversal, which is what we're going to do. We're going to take off here from runway 4. We're going to turn around, go to Roxy, fly our holding pattern, which is a 4-mile pattern. And then from there, we are going to just fly inbound and land. Here's our missed approach fix. It's out here a bit. It's kind of off the scale, if you will. And we have our different sectors. Here's Roxy. So from this direction out to 10 miles, you've got 4,000 feet. And out to 30 miles, 4,200 feet is what you need. And we have something very similar in this direction, 4,000 and then 4,300 if you go out a little bit further. Okay, profile view. We have to be at or above 4,000 feet till we get to Roxy. Once we get past Roxy, we can descend down to 3,900 to Hazen. That's also our final approach fix. And it's our glide slope intercept if we're going to fly that approach with the LPV approach, if you will. And then we have a couple of step downs. Now, you might notice that there's a little asterisk and it says LNAV only. So obviously, if you're doing LPV, you don't care about these step down fixes or about the visual descent point. We're going to try to fly the LPV approach. Our minimum altitude is 1162 with an RVR of 2,400. It is 200 feet in the air, so it's basically as good as an ILS. Elevation 962. It's Class D airspace. And here's our path. Brings us right into the runway. A little bit about the lighting, etc., etc. All right, so let's go ahead and fly it. So here, my flight plan. My flight plan's pretty simple. I'm just going to go from AVP to AVP. I already hit the proc button and selected my procedure. And right now it's trying to give me guidance to the hold at Roxy. I've also connected this to my tablet. So I can use WingX Pro in order to see where I'm going. And let's see, so I'm going to be essentially turning around, if you will, once I take off. So I'm going to go ahead and set my heading bug. To my 225 heading, which is right about behind me. And we'll take off. I'm going to climb up to at least 4,000 feet to fly this approach. Going to go ahead and start my turn. All right, so now I'm approaching Roxy. It's telling me to hold parallel. So I'm going to fly a heading of about 224. It's a DME based hold. So all I have to do here is just fly out to a distance of 4 miles. Now, again, here it told me to do a parallel. I'm not forced to do a parallel. I probably could have done a teardrop instead, which would have been a little easier, but given that this is a GPS hold and a GPS approach, it's probably going to be okay. So let's see how well I do here. I have 0.7 more miles before I can turn back around. There's my 4 miles. I'm going to go ahead and turn it around. So now I'm tracking back inbound toward my fix. I'll go ahead and make this bigger for a second. So you can see that here I am in my hold. And hopefully once I get a little bit closer to my fix, so I'm about a minute away, I'm going to turn left just a little bit. Try to better fly by, but not over Roxy. Notice I'm still in terminal sensitivity. All right, so I'm going into my next fix. I can descend a little bit down to 3,900. Make sure that I've set up for GPS, not VLOC, and notice it says LPV. So I have the appropriate items that I need for that. I'm going to go ahead and make this small again. And we'll start bringing her down. It's telling me that in 10 seconds, I'll have a new desired track of 44. I'll go ahead and remind myself with my heading bug of that. And I'm going to set myself up. I'm going to slow down a little bit. I'm going to start dropping. Slightly above the glide slope. Going to descend just a little bit more. Try to recapture that glide slope. Since I'm doing the LPV approach, I can just go ahead and descend all the way down to 1162, which I'm going to round up to 1200. Still just a little bit above my glide slope. So I have another 2,000 feet to descend. $1,400 to go. Coming up on my next letdown point, which again is not really relevant to me because I'm flying the LPV approach and I have 1,000 feet to go. 800. I am 2.7 miles from the runway. 700. 400. 1.8 miles. 300. 200. 100. All right, gonna start dropping some flaps, going visual. There's my DA, but I have the airport in sight. I'm just 200 feet in the air here. All right, so there you have it. We managed to do an LPV GPS approach. Now, of course, there are a lot of variations on the GPS approaches. You could look at the T approaches, modified T approaches, et cetera, but I think that even just these two gives you a pretty good idea of how most of these are going to go. So that is it for the Chapter 13 Sim assignments.